Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Whitney Ward. Spokane police are defending their actions after officers shot and killed a man they say was holding a knife to a baby earlier this year. KREM 2 was in the room this morning as the department shared body camera footage from the two officers who were involved. KREM 2's Janelle Finch is joining us here in the studio now to share more about what that footage reveals.
For the first time, we're getting an inside look at the moments that led up to Spokane police shooting and killing 23-year-old Peterson Camo. Two SPD officers claim Camo was holding a knife to his 2-year-old nephew, and they were left with no choice but to shoot. As a warning, this video shows moments leading up to a traumatizing event. Faces are covered to protect the identities of those involved. Body camera footage from Officer Corrigan Mohandro shows there was just 5 minutes between the moment he left his car to when he shot at Camo. Officer Mohandro was the first officer to claim Camo was holding a knife to a young child. With this knowledge, responding officers moved in and attempted to de-escalate the situation from the bottom of the stairwell. Camo and the baby were upstairs, where Camo claimed he poured kerosene on the carpet. De-escalation efforts lasted 3 minutes before Corporal Brandon Lynch made the decision officers had waited long enough. SPD Captain Tom Hendren shared a statement today from Corporal Lynch to explain his response.
Quote, "I was out of time and any hesitation or delay whatsoever would undoubtedly result in a knife being stuck in the side of the child's head. The knife was closing in on the child's head while still on the move. I pointed my rifle near the male, briefly oriented my red dot sight to make sure that the child was not in it and pressed the trigger."
The first round didn't hit Camo or the baby. Officer Mohandro and Corporal Lynch each fired an additional round. Moments later, Camo drops to the ground, and officers say they began first aid procedures. Camo would later die from his injuries. The child was unharmed, and a knife was taken into evidence. The Spokane County prosecutor is still investigating this situation. KREM 2 reached out to the Camo family's attorney for possible comment. The attorney says the family is not prepared to comment at this time, but this could change after further investigation. In the studio, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
All right, Janelle, thank you very much. Just hours ago, the NTSB issued an urgent safety recommendation to the FAA regarding the type of plane that crashed into the Puget Sound near Whidbey Island last month. 10 people were killed over Labor Day weekend, including Spokane civil rights advocate Sandy Williams and her partner Patricia Hicks. The NTSB found there was a crucial lock ring missing from the plane that crashed on a part that keeps the plane from going up and down. Officials are now asking the FAA to require anyone operating a DHC-3 Otter float plane to inspect that portion of the aircraft. If the FAA does act on this, the planes could be grounded immediately until those inspections can take place. KREM 2 did reach out to Brooks Seaplane in Coeur d'Alene, and according to their website, they do not fly that type of float plane. This afternoon, Spokane City Council declaring an emergency and abruptly ending its contract with the Guardians Foundation. Officials are now bringing in the Salvation Army to operate both the Trent and Cannon shelters. City Administrator Johnny Perkins told council members several irregularities were found in payroll and expense reports that the Guardians had submitted asking the city for reimbursement. Those were then put under the microscope several weeks ago after the city learned a former Guardians employee may have embezzled $118,000 over the course of several years.
What we've looked at in the last 3 weeks, there are clear discrepancies in the accounting practices, and there are clear violations of the current contract. Therefore, a change needs to be made right now. I cannot wait until those 2 investigations are completed.
By declaring an emergency, the council was able to bypass the lengthy bidding process. The Salvation Army will now take over operations on November 1st, but staff could be inside both shelters as early as today. Spokane police are now investigating the former Guardians employee while the city conducts a forensic audit looking at all invoices over the last 18 months. This morning, the city of Colville started moving its homeless population to an empty lot, a site that has taken them 3 months rather, to set up. The city hopes this will begin to limit the number of people who are living on the streets. Over the past year, more than 30 people have set up their tents and trailers in an empty lot by North Railroad Street in Colville. Now the city is moving people to a new location about a mile south of there. The city says it's to enforce stricter camping laws. Right now, people who live at the North Railroad encampment say they're being forced to move out, and the city's only offering them help for today.
It's not fun. It's not someplace that none of us want to be here. I don't know anybody that likes this, but them only giving us 2 days notice that we're got to leave, or we're going to be arrested and our stuff impounded, and then we lose everything we own because who's got the money to get it out, you know? Nobody.
The mayor of Colville says this new location is not meant to be permanent. It's meant to give people a safe space to stay with clean water and porta potties. Volunteers will help run the site's check-in process, and police will monitor that site daily. One of the rules for that location, by the way, is that people can only stay there for 3 weeks and then must vacate their lot space for a minimum of 5 days before coming back. All right, let's talk weather. We actually saw some sun today after days and days of rain, but apparently we shouldn't get our hopes up just yet. The rain could be returning very soon. Our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legou, actually out there in the sunshine, kind of enjoying it right now. How's it feel out there, Jeremy?
You know, Whitney, I actually went, all right, we got a little bit of sun and I was having a great hair day. So let's get out here and just mess with this wind and see what happens. So, you know, why not? Right now, we sit at 52 degrees, mostly sunny skies, believe it or not. Dew point of 31 means it is a very dry atmosphere, but look at that wind. South-southwest at 21 miles per hour. Pressure dropping right now as we get our next storm system working its way toward us. Wind gusts stay strong until the sun goes down tonight and then kind of taper off. Notice overnight, though, they'll get back up into the teens, not quite as strong, but with our big pressure gradient between high pressure just down to our south and low pressure up to the northwest, we kind of squeeze everything and that funnels that wind across our region, and that's why it is so windy. We'll stay windy right through this evening. Tomorrow morning, waking up to a couple of prefrontal showers, then our little shortwave moves through. I'm calling it little because it doesn't have much moisture or much energy. Hits in the middle part of the day. By tomorrow evening, moves out, and it does wind up looking like we have a couple scattered showers before the sun comes up Saturday, but it does wind up looking like we start to stay a little bit drier during daylight hours on Saturday, but then Sundays when the real wind and rain returns to the region.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Today, the Washington Department of Health is urging people to stay current on your immunizations as we head into the winter virus season. The state is reporting 2 flu-related deaths already this year.
This is a reminder that flu remains deadly. Please, this is the time to protect yourself. There are some 180 million doses of flu vaccine that are projected to be available across the country. We have enough flu vaccine in our country and in our state as well. So let that not be the reason that people do not protect themselves.
State health officials are also closely monitoring a rise in RSV right now that is hitting young children especially hard.
Hospitals are already at high capacity and very stressed. And when you add in complications by an early and severe season of highly contagious respiratory viruses, that puts an even greater strain on the system.
There is no vaccine for RSV. The best prevention is to wash your hands, stay home when you are sick, and stay away from others who are also infected. Happening tonight, Spokane's Cliff Cannon neighborhood is meeting to discuss a vote for historical status. Constructed back in 1918, the neighborhood wants to preserve its architecture, historic homes, and old-growth tree-lined streets. If the neighborhood decides to pursue historical status, new buildings would then be restricted, including any additional affordable housing. And homeowners who spend 25% of their home's value in renovations over a 2-year period would then be eligible for a decade-long property tax discount. The neighborhood has until November 11th to vote on that proposal. Their meeting begins at 7 o'clock tonight. Now looking ahead, we want to let you know about a story that we are working on for you later tonight. A government program has expanded student loan relief for public employees, offering credit for past payments that normally would not qualify. It's called the Limited Public Service Loan Forgiveness Waiver, and it comes with some pretty unique rules about employment. Tonight on KREM 2 News at 6, we'll verify who's eligible for this waiver. Now still to come here on KREM 2 News at 4, a new Spokane landmark receives a national accolade, the modernized building approach that led to its victory. Up next. Plus, Gonzaga basketball back on the court tomorrow, if you can believe it. Everything you need to know after a quick break.